Chipotle apricot sauce is a sauce that's super good on meat. I don't know what it is about that apricot sweetness and then the spice of the chipotle, but it works so great to either slow cook your meat in or to marinate it in or even to baste it in. The first thing I do is I wash my apricots to make sure that there's no residual pesticide on them. Then I just have to cut them in half and pit them. Fortunately, apricots are one of those fruits that are really easy to pit, and they don't even have to be blanched because the skin is so thin. Now I'll just dice up my apricots. I'll need 5 cups worth. It doesn't have to be super small because I'll be blending it later. Now I'll add my 5 cups of diced apricots, 1/4 of a cup of onions, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of dried lemon peel, and 1 cup of water. Now I'll simmer this until the apricots and the onions are soft. So now that my fruit and vegetables are all soft, I'll add them to my blender. And I'll blend this up until it's nice and smooth, reminiscent of, say, like a ketchup. Now I'll put it back in my pot. And it's just this lovely color and texture at this point. I haven't even added the spices yet, but I can already smell so much goodness from here. Now I'll add 1½ cups of white wine vinegar, 1 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of chipotle pepper powder, half of a teaspoon of pepper, and half of a teaspoon of salt. So I'll place this back on the stove, bring it to a boil, and simmer it until it's thick. So I've gotten it to the consistency of a barbecue sauce now, and that's perfect for what my intended purpose is. I'll fill up my 1/2 pint jars to 1/2 of an inch of headspace, which is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. I like to use a silicone spatula for the last little bit because I feel like it does such a good job of getting it all off. I don't want to waste any of that. That's a lot of work and honestly a lot of product. I'll then use a clean damp cloth to clean off the rim of my jars. This is just so that if there's anything that's left on the edge that it won't interfere with the seal. And then I'll place my lids and rings on until they're fingertip tight. I'm using my Superb lids today. This is an American-made company. I really like to support the American workers. I also really like the quality. It has a super squishy blue seal to it that's supposed to work up to 36 months as opposed to the other lids that only are supposed to work up to 18 months. So that definitely makes a difference for me, especially since my canned goods can last up to 3 years. So I would like for my lid to work just as long. It also has an anti-corrosion coating, which I love because I store mine in my root cellar, and so it's more humid down there. I have a link as well as a 20% off coupon code in the description below, so that helps a little. I'll then process these in my boiling water bath for 10 minutes if I'm at sea level. I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll go for 15. But I won't start the timer until after it begins to boil. Now that my timer's gone off, I'll turn off the heat, remove the lid, and let it cool for 5 minutes. I'll then remove my jars and place them on a heat-resistant surface about 1 to 2 inches apart so that they can cool quickly. I'll leave them there for 24 hours so that they can get a good seal. I can tell that they have a good seal if the center of the lid is depressed down. If it is, then I remove the ring and wash them with hot soapy water and then store them in a cool, dry, dark location like my pantry and use them in the next 1 to 3 years. If it didn't seal, I would place it in the refrigerator and use it right away. For the taste test, I'm eating it on a little bit of steak that I had left over from yesterday. It's actually really good. You get that sweetness and all of the savory flavors, and then as it continues on its path, you get that little bit of spice there with the smokiness of the chipotle peppers. So this is really one of my favorite sweet, savory meat sauces.